ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says the party should show unity and renewal. He was delivering the closing address at the 9th ANC KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Conference in Durban. Ramaphosa told delegates that they must ensure that resolutions taken are implemented to advance the lives of people. He said KwaZulu-Natal has always been in the forefront of producing strong leaders who are solution-driven within the organization. Now let's discuss these and other political issues. We're now joined via Zoom by political analyst Dr Ebrahim Harvey. Dr. Harvey, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Now, a lot of the analysis before this provincial conference was really centered around the fact that, the outcome will essentially determine or shape the National Party's upcoming policy conference this week and the National Elective Conference in December. Fast forward to present, where the so-called Taliban favorites became victorious and upsetting the status quo. What do we make of this new leadership under Siboniso Duma as chair, and how will they shape the party's renewal and unity vision as per my intro?
Yeah, it's a very, the results. Cyril, the president can talk all he wants about pleading for unity. And in fact, they're going to have to now go out of their way to plead for unity because of the results. It's in many ways a slap in the face of Ramaphosa and the faction there. The winner, Siboniso, is a guy who's pro-Zuma and is known, But I am very concerned, let me tell you, the developments in KZN is another region. They don't care what happens in the rest of the country. You can see in April, Gumede got elected at the Queenie chair, despite all the charges and corruption issues that she's facing. That is, KZN is one hell of a province. But the very disturbing thing I must tell you was the way they were chanting for Zuma, all the Wenzeni, Zuma, all the time, you can see that it is very much still his base, no matter what charges he faces, And there's a very disconcerting thing, I must tell you. I don't think it's very healthy for democracy, really. The delegates and people in the KZN don't care a damn, frankly, what charges you are facing, whatever they do what they want to, and obviously there are forces behind them, to whip up support, even if you are targeted and charged with the corruption. But I really don't think in the final analysis that the victory, in KZN is going to do much damage if Ramaphosa stands. Just remember, he has not yet been charged. If he is charged, then the step-aside rule kicks in. There's no way he's going to escape it. And then the implication is very serious because, it would mean that he doesn't stand in December. And Zweli Mkhize, if he stands, I doubt even if Zweli Mkhize stands in December and for some reason Ramaphosa doesn't stand. I don't think, even with the victory of in KZN, that on the whole, the question is really, what will happen if Ramaphosa doesn't stand in December? And I don't think people must think it's a foregone conclusion that he will stand, because if charges are laid against him, there's no way that he's going to escape the step-aside rule. And the logical conclusion is that he will not be able to, depends what happens, in the run-up to the election, and until he's charged. But there are massive implications as far as I'm concerned from KZN. The Zuma camp they are enthralled by what has happened.
Dr. Harvey, a very quick one, because we are running out of time very quickly. Bheki Mtolo, of course, the newly appointed secretary, also calling for that step-aside resolution, not only to be reviewed, but to be scrapped, saying that in conference, very, very resolute in probably that stand.
No, you see, that's the problem. They'll have serious difficulties to demand and insist that the step-aside rule be waived and discarded. The step-aside rule was there for a reason, and it's been motivated. Because if you don't have and you dismantle the step-aside rule, it's a free play, and then you don't. The whole idea of the step-aside rule was to take a step seriously in direction of combating corruption. So earlier on, they did not have, they extended it later to say that if you've been charged, then you cannot stand for elections. If you've been charged, with corruption, fraud, etc. I think it's a worthwhile position to maintain. Once you collapse the step-aside rule, you're asking for very serious problems, and I don't think Ramaphosa and that faction that still is the incumbent president and they wield a lot of power would at all, they would never accede to that request, that the step-aside rule be dismantled.
Dr. Harvey, that's all the time we have for this afternoon. Of course, not spelling out very positive news there coming out of that conference. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.